Are you thinking of taking your business to foreign soil? Well, that's not a bad idea. It's not as difficult as it used to be to start a business in a foreign country. However, you would still have to pay attention to a lot of factors that could affect your business positively or negatively. Technology has made it easy to find information on anything you don't understand, and the requirements for moving your business to a new country are easier. Goodbye to the days of thinking locally for your small business when you can go global. It's a great opportunity to capture new customers and diversify your market, and even increase the sales life of your product. Imagine having your business in the United States become the next hot thing in several other countries. There's also the fact that you don't have to depend so much on your local market anymore, which reduces the risk of running your business. Taking your business to a new country will also teach you several new ways of doing business and makes you better prepared for those inevitable seasonal fluctuations. But all these benefits and more will only be possible when you choose the right country for business. A lot of people talk about the best countries for business, but what about the ones you should avoid? We'll be checking that out in today's video. But first, let's talk about the criteria you should look out for when making your decision to start your business in a different country. Indicators for countries that are good for business. What are those factors that let you know that a country is good or bad for business? In our little research, we used important economic indicators to answer this question. Here are the important ones to look out for when making your decision. GDP. Gross domestic product tells us more about the market value of all products and services produced within a specific time. And here's why this is so important. A growing GDP is usually a sign that the economy is performing well compared to its size. If this GDP is impressive and the country is not struggling with high inflation rates, then that usually means that it's a great country to set up a business. Of course, the opposite of this makes it terrible for business owners. CPI. When you measure the changes in the price of regular goods and services that various households in a country spend money on, you will come up with the Consumer Price Index. Imagine a country where the price of staple food doubles within a few months. That indicates a high inflation rate, which would also affect the country's currency. For you as a business owner, it would be quite expensive to invest in that country since prices of regular commodities skyrocket all the time. Employment rate. Your business needs access to a skilled workforce that would share your mission and values. They will help you take your company to greater heights by putting their knowledge to good use. Apart from that access to skilled labor, checking employment rates for different countries will let you know if the citizens are productive and wealthy enough to spend money on goods and services. A country with citizens that are barely able to fend for themselves won't have spare cash to spend on your products. A high unemployment rate means less disposable income and even lower consumer spending habits. This will also hurt the GDP, and that's downhill for the economic growth of the country. Bank policies. A country's central bank is responsible for those financial policies that could help or harm your business. So a quick check through their minutes releases will give you a good idea of what plans they have for the country's financial year, and if they have the potential to come up with policies that could affect your business in the future. Now that you know some of the factors to look out for, let's dive right into our list of worst countries for business. Number 1. Argentina. This South American nation is one of the worst countries for business, and you're about to find out why. In Argentina, it takes as long as a year to get a construction permit, which means they have one of the lowest rankings when it comes to getting this. The Caribbean and Latin American countries are way better, with an average of months to get a valid construction permit. So how does this affect you? Well, imagine having to wait long before you get the approval to build an office in the country. That would mean your entire business would have to be on hold for a long time. It also takes 26 days to start a business in Argentina, which is way lower than anyone would like. In 2002 marked the year where a lot of foreign investors fled the second biggest economy in South America because it defaulted on its debt in 2002. And you know what lack of foreign investment can do to a country. Argentina's government was forced to come up with a lot of creative ways to stop money from leaving the country, including limited foreigners from buying farmland. 2. Chad. If you know a little bit about Chad, then you'll be aware that it's a landlocked country, which makes things extremely difficult for anyone looking to build the next million-dollar business in a foreign country. Since Chad is landlocked, almost everything in the country has to be imported. This has led them to being unhealthily dependent on neighboring countries and at a high cost of transportation. It gets even worse. Oil is one of the biggest commercial commodities in Chad, yet the country is serviced by only one refinery. With so much pressure on this single facility, it breaks down a lot, which results in businesses being on hold for several hours at a time. This is not an experience you would like to subject your business to, especially if you're just starting up. You would also have a problem with the workforce, which is largely uneducated and unskilled. On the plus side, they are extremely affordable, and some would say cheap. but you would still have to dig really far to find a gold mine. These are not the only issues facing Chad. As a business owner, you would have to struggle with extensive government bureaucracy, inadequate infrastructure, and elevated levels of corruption, which all stop you from experiencing as much growth as you'd like. 3. Haiti. As of December 2017, Haiti had a GDP of $8.5 billion. Once upon a time, the name Haiti brought in minds images of beautiful beaches and the warm ocean water. Today, things are quite different. After the 7.0 magnitude earthquake that happened in 2010, Haiti has not remained the same. They went from having a semi-stable economy to one that was significantly worse and made them an unconducive place for business. Investors have found it difficult to settle down in Haiti due to several reasons, including the low level of education, high poverty rate, political instability, and constant government corruption. There is also a high chance of natural disasters like tsunamis and earthquakes disrupting the country. With a high percentage of its population living below the poverty line, this is one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. People with low purchasing power won't be focused on buying your products or services, and that could mean stagnancy for your business. Yes, the country enjoys tariff-free exports to the US, but this is not so much an advantage as they're vulnerable to natural disasters, and they have little skilled labor. All these come together to make the country a terrible place for business. 4. Libya. In the last few years, Libya has been having a fluctuating GDP year after year, and this is a sign of economic instability. From being a once-upon-a-time African powerhouse, Libya is nothing more than rubble after the 2014 Arab Spring that pretty much burned through the country. There is also the fight for control over oil since the country is very dependent on its oil and gas exports. Rival forces have been trying since 2015 to control the largest oil terminal in the country, and that has significantly affected crude oil production. It's not a good idea to set up a business in a country that is experiencing conflict and could have your business reduced to nothing in a flash. Apart from conflict making the country uninhabitable for business, there is also the lack of stable labor workforce, security, food, and infrastructure. All in all, it qualifies as one of the worst countries in the world for business. Number 5. Central African Republic. With unrest and violence being a regular occurrence in this country, it's no surprise that its economy has been on a free fall. Business owners don't have so much leverage here, especially with little to no access to healthcare and education. Number 6. Venezuela. Venezuela has had a spot as one of the worst countries for business in the last few years. It's not a country where you can pay less taxes easily, engage in cross-border trading without issues, or get credit without jumping through hoops. The investor protection laws are also quite terrible and not encouraging for business owners. Number 7. Clarksville, United States. Clarksville, in the Tennessee-Kentucky area of the United States, is not exactly a place where startups survive more than 5 years. Despite having some cool business incentives, the tax policies and other regulations affecting businesses don't give them room to grow, so it's a bad idea to set up your business here. Now you know some of the worst countries for business, and that's a wrap. What other country do you think should have made our list? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? Well, we're always posting amazing content like this, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching.